You did not break. And that is what is destroying them. Not your anger, not your words, not anything you did or said or planned or wished for. Your survival, the fact that you are still here, still breathing, still standing, still building, still becoming. That is the thing they never accounted for. They planned for your collapse. They invested in your destruction. They spent real time and real energy constructing a version of your future that looked nothing like what you are walking in right now. And none of it worked. And now they have to live inside that failure every single day. Stay with me, because what I'm about to walk you through is not motivation. It is not empty spiritual talk designed to make you feel better for 5 minutes before the pain returns. It is the specific psychological and spiritual truth about what happens to the people who try to destroy someone they were never equipped to handle. And by the end of this, you will understand not just why they are unraveling, but why you were never in as much danger as they wanted you to believe. Let me tell you what they thought when they came for you. They thought you were soft. They thought your sensitivity was a weakness they could exploit. Your empathy was an open door they could walk through whenever they needed something. Your willingness to see the best in people was a vulnerability they could position themselves behind. They thought your kindness was naivety. Your patience was fear. Your silence was an absence of power rather than the presence of something they were not sophisticated enough to recognize. They thought they understood what they were dealing with. They were wrong about every single thing, because here is what they did not account for. They came for someone who had already survived things they will never understand. Someone who had already been broken open in ways that produced depth rather than damage. Someone who had already done the specific interior work of becoming the kind of person who does not need revenge because they understand something about the universe that people who hurt others have not yet been willing to learn. Energy moves in circles, not eventually, not someday, always. What you send into the world does not disappear. It does not dissipate. It does not simply arrive at its intended target and then cease to exist. It comes back, carrying everything that was sent with it. Every intention, every calculation, every moment they stood in front of you performing care while actively working against you. All of it, moving back toward the source. And they are feeling it now. Not because you wished it, because you refused to become it. I need you to hear this next part carefully, because this is the specific truth that will free you from the question you have been asking since all of this started. The question that visits you at 3 in the morning, when the noise of the day stops and there is nothing left to distract you from what happened. Why me? Why did they choose you? Why did they target you specifically? Why did your light attract something that tried so hard to extinguish it? Here is the answer. They could not ignore you, not because you were weak, not because you were an easy target, not because there was something deficient in you that made you available for what they did, because there was something in you that made them profoundly uncomfortable, something that reminded them every time they were in your presence of the person they had stopped themselves from becoming, the discipline they abandoned, the depth they suppressed, the specific quality of being fully present in your own life that they had traded away so long ago, they had almost forgotten they ever had access to it. You were not their target because you were beneath them. You were their target because they could not tolerate what your existence said about their choices. And so they tried to bring you down to a level where that comparison could no longer reach them. It did not work. Now let me tell you what is happening to them. Not what you hope is happening, not what you imagine is happening. What is actually happening to someone who has spent significant energy trying to destroy a person they were never able to touch at the level that mattered. They cannot rest inside themselves anymore. Not fully, not with the specific quality of ease that comes from knowing that what you did and who you are have some reasonable alignment with each other. Because they know, they may not say it, they may not even have full conscious access to the knowing, but somewhere beneath the performance of their daily life, beneath the version of the story they have been telling everyone around them, they know exactly what they did. And they know you survived it. And the combination of those two things, the knowledge of what was done and the evidence that it did not produce what was intended, is one of the most psychologically destabilizing experiences available to a human being, because it removes the justification. They needed you to collapse to make the story work. They needed you to be what they said you were. They needed the narrative of your weakness to hold up against the reality of your existence, and instead, you glowed up in the exact space they tried to dim. Here is the part nobody talks about when they talk about this. You did not get away unscathed. I am not going to tell you that you did. I am not going to pretend that what they put you through did not cost you things that mattered, things you are still working through, things that left marks. You paid a price, a real one, and it was not fair, and it was not deserved. And the fact that you are still building something beautiful with what remains does not mean the loss was not real. It was real, and you carried it, mostly alone, in the specific silence of someone who could not fully explain to the people around them what was happening, because what was happening existed on levels that required having experienced it to understand. You carried it through the nights when the self-doubt was louder than any external voice, through the moments when you almost believed the version of you they were performing for everyone else, through the specific exhaustion of staying connected to who you actually are, when everything around you was designed to disconnect you from it. You carried all of that, and you are still here. That is not small, that is everything. And now I want to speak directly to the guilt, because I know it is there. Some version of it, the part of you that feels uncomfortable watching what is happening to them, the part that wonders if you should reach out, the part that says maybe they are really struggling, and maybe your empathy is required here. I want to say this carefully and clearly. Your empathy is one of the most extraordinary things about you. Do not give it to the person who spent real time and real intention trying to destroy you. Not because they do not deserve compassion as a human being, but because your empathy in that direction right now is not compassion. It is a habit. The habit of making yourself available to someone who relied on your availability to maintain access to something that was never theirs. The work they are going through right now is theirs to do. The reckoning that is happening inside them is between them and the choices they made. Your presence in that process would not help them do it. It would allow them to avoid it. Let them do it without you. That is not cruelty. That is the most honest thing you can offer someone who is finally being asked by their own interior life to face what they have been refusing to face. I want to tell you what the future looks like from here. Not the fantasy version, the real one. The real version is this. You are going to keep building. Some days it will feel like everything is moving, and some days it will feel like nothing is, and both of those days will eventually produce something you could not have produced without them. The people who tried to stop you are going to have to watch that, not from up close, not from a position of access to any of it, from the specific distance that their own choices created between you and them. And that distance, the one you did not choose and did not want and grieved before, you finally understood it was necessary, is going to become one of the clearest examples of something that was lost by the people who threw it away, not by you, by them. You did not lose access to this version of your life. They lost access to you, and those are not the same thing. You are still here, still building, still becoming, and they are going to have to figure out how to live in the world knowing that the person they tried to break is the most unbreakable version of themselves they have ever been. That is not something you wished on them. That is something they earned, and you just had to survive, which is the only thing you were ever required to do. If something in this reached the part of you that has been quietly watching what is happening to the people who came for you, and wondering if you are allowed to feel what you feel about it, you are. You are allowed to feel it. You are allowed to notice it. You are allowed to understand that what you are watching is not coincidence. It is consequence. Share this with someone who survived something they were not supposed to survive. They need to hear that the survival was the victory. All of it was the victory. The breakdown, the rebuilding, the specific refusal to become what was done to them. All of it. Subscribe, because what comes next is for the person who is finally ready to stop making sense of what happened and start building what comes next.